Let's switch it over to the other side of the ball. Let's talk about the defense because
Okay.
there's a lot of interesting players to watch on this defense. Who let's do it again. Who's your number one player to watch from the Ravens defense in preseason as a whole?
I need to see if Daffy is not on the list. I will go with Odafe. I've been hearing a lot about him. I mean, honestly, I don't know if if you checked on it, but the 11 today was crazy. So I heard that Mr. Justin Houston took a drink in the fountain of youth, get into the backfield. He caused Odafe then caused Lamar a safety. On the 11-11 drill. So I mean, if Odafe is available for Thursday night, I definitely want to see how he's been working on his hand combat. How he what moves has he been putting into his repertoire in order to get into the backfield to make his presence known, and just to see how much more freakish as they want to say as they say as that he's gotten since the off season and getting the surgery and everything like that.
Yeah, I think Odafe Oweh is my number one as well because he's the question mark on the Ravens defense and whether or not it'll work this year.
Yeah,
Because if we don't have a pass rush again, even though our secondary is fantastic, the best secondary in the NFL, I think, hands down, if you can't pass rush, those guys are going to get cooked because nobody in the NFL can consistently cover you for 15 seconds.
and
Like
with
I don't care if you're guarding
yeah,
Willie Snead at age 74 in Greg Roman's system. You give
yeah,
him enough time, he's going to get open.
right.
He may be next to someone when he's open, but he'll be open.
And then within that corner too, so we definitely need to see what the pass rush look like. So yeah,
And and yet he's also just been someone where, like, again, he's new. He's new to football. He'd only played 5 years when he got drafted,
yeah,
and we saw it. It's week in, week out. He got better every week. He learned from Justin Houston. He really wanted to know. We talked about Isaiah Likely and how he's trying to learn from Mark Andrews.
mm-hmm.
Justin Houston was probably that and even more to Odafe Oweh because he's the vet. He's been there. He's gotten the 20 sack season. Very few people can say they've done that. And Odafe wanted to learn as much as possible. And that it seems like he has, and he kept learning and he keeps working. If we see in the preseason he's consistently getting into the backfield, he's consistently making plays because he was good in the run. He used his athleticism to his advantage. Like he was good last year. Um, I think he's someone definitely to watch because if he looks dominant, this Ravens defense could very well be dominant.
yeah. And I think another person, I don't know if you feel this way, but another person we may throw in there is Dalen Hayes and Pepe Williams. I say Dalen Hayes because he's coming back from an injury, and we had me personally, I had high hopes for him, because he was another one that came in more polished. He had those acolytes. He played with Kyle Hamilton, at Notre Dame, so they had the familiarity. But I mean, unfortunately, Dalen Hayes had the injury. He went down. He couldn't play. So I definitely want to see how he bounces back. Playing on that opposite side from Odafe and how he plans on working to get into the backfield. Because like I said, we saw a lot of promise in the previous preseason, and I just love to see how this young man is going to fare, especially with all the we're very thin at outside linebacker, so we need all hands on deck, literally. I mean, and Pepe Williams, we talked about him so much. Just hearing his story. Not being able to play football at a young age because they didn't have the money in Pop Warner to play for registration fees and things of that nature. So he always still played like street ball and things of that nature. Went on to college, played on the outside. Didn't really play nickel, but when he played on the outside at a 5'10" corner, at a 5'10" height, maybe about 180, 210, weighing in, he still played big and he came up and showed up. So, with the defensive line being thin, there is opportunities for a lot of these young men with the cornerbacks being thin. It's opportunities for these young men to step up too, because even Brandon Stevens has missed his sixth practice, I believe, today. Unfortunately, Jalen Armour-Davis was a little limited, and we're bringing in these Value City corners for depth pieces. And right now, You know, we don't know when we're going to get Marcus. We don't have a timetable when we get Marcus Peters back. It may be by week 6, maybe later than that, or maybe earlier. He's keeping that all quiet. But right now, we don't know. All we know is that we need to bring in depth pieces. And I'm thinking, yeah, we need to bring in depth pieces, but we need guys that can make an immediate impact. And if Pepe Williams can, make an immediate impact on that back end secondary and help us out, by all means, get this young man out there on the field.
Yeah, I think Dalen Hayes is definitely a guy to bring up because he was someone that we watched, and that was a shock last year. Like, we had talked like, okay, this guy could come in, he could play some Sam, he can definitely cover, similar to Tyus Bowser's role, right? And then he came in, and we were like, this guy can rush the passer. Like surprisingly well, this guy can rush the passer. The way he used his hands, I love the nickname you gave him, Joshua, Mr. Fantastic, because of how well he bends.
Yeah.
Like, this dude just gets around you. And he may not be the fastest, the most athletic, but sometimes that's not needed. Right? Some of the best pass rushers of all time weren't all 4.3 40-yard dash runners.
Dwight Freeney had the best spin move ever.
Exactly. If you're a technician, it can work. And Dalen Hayes came in, and it was very clear, okay, this guy's a technician. And him and Odafe were like, oh, wow, it's a 1-2 punch where one of them's super physical. Like, imagine they switch sides. You've been going up against straight up speed and strength the whole game, and then a guy hits you with a swim move, and you're in the dirt because you're ready for a bull rush because you faced a bull rush 37 times in a row. And then you've been facing spins and he's been hitting you with the stagger, and all of a sudden Odafe comes over and he's just like bull rush, boom.
You wouldn't be ready for it. You wouldn't be ready for it.
Nobody's ready. So I think he's definitely a guy to keep an eye out for because he didn't get to play his rookie year, but we got to see. Did we see him in 1 or 2 preseason games?
I think we saw him in, I want to say 2 at least.
Yeah. And he looked fantastic. So he's definitely someone to keep an eye out for. But in terms of the secondary, I got one guy.
Talk to me.
Kyle Hamilton.
Okay.
Because now we get to see you can hit him.
That first pick
You
today.
can be contact. You can be physical.
Yeah.
And we get to see what kind of role are the Ravens looking for him in. Because if we see, oh, wow, he's playing over top every single play. That's not saying he will do that in the regular season, but the Ravens are trying to see their looks. The point of the preseason is to understand what value players add. So if they're throwing him in these situations and he's playing well, the Ravens can go, hey, we can definitely throw him over top. If they throw him in the box and he's making a lot of plays, they go, hey, okay, playing in the box looks pretty good. Maybe they throw him in a fair bit of man coverage. Okay, study some film. Let's see how this goes. You cover the tight end. The Titans don't have a great tight end. I'm not trying to disrespect their guy. I honestly don't even know who they have anymore. I don't even think they have Ferkser. I think they may have drafted somebody. I cannot remember who it is. But, cover him. See how you do. Cover the guy in the slot. He's going to be moved all over to let the Ravens gauge who they have. And if he plays well, it's going to be really scary for a lot of other teams because this is no longer one-on-one. Right? The best basketball player of all time is not a one-on-one basketball player. They're better with a team around them because they can set screens, because, they can pass them the ball, because they can pass the ball out to other players. Like, having guys around you is beneficial. Even if you're still in a one-on-one, you have that just help because there's other guys there.
Oh, man. No, I definitely agree with that. I definitely like the fact that you brought up Kyle Hamilton. I mean, he is the ace in the hole because if he plays well enough, then bye Chuck. I'm sorry, I keep saying it. Chuck, I love you. High IQ. You earned your spot. You earned the green dot. But in this new face and new identity and new defensive coordinator, I just don't see you fitting in that right now. You got an over-the-top safety, and then you got another safety where you pretty much can put almost anywhere. And if they run 3 safeties, you got Geno Stone. And Geno Stone just know how to be in the right place and right time. He has good speed. He can catch the ball, and he doesn't mind hitting you. So honestly, we've been saying it. I've been saying it. Chuck, you've been the odd man out, baby. You know, and it's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. Just I didn't see way too many arguments and misblown coverages from my safeties and my corners. And if I can get better communication and better cohesiveness um, with my secondary, by all means, I would love that. So I definitely love the fact that you brought up Kyle Hamilton. He is the ace in the hole, the wild card, the one. His play in the secondary is going to make a huge difference on how Mike McDonald, coaches this defense. So I definitely like the fact that you brought up Kyle.
I got one more guy to throw out there.
Okay.
It's about the size of two guys, but one guy, Travis Jones. Because it's hard to see the highlights.
We couldn't end the show without him.
Absolutely not. I mean, it's tough to tell defensive lineman highlights in practice. I saw a highlight of Jordan Davis today going one-on-one. Jordan Davis is brute strength. Travis Jones is more of that technician, and he gets sacks. You're not allowed to hit your quarterback in training camp.
Yeah.
And they typically try and really reduce the, physical, blunt, trauma, head injuries. They're trying to reduce all that stuff.
Right.
When you get to play against someone one-on-one in the preseason, that's when you get to find out, okay, how does this guy do? And he doesn't have to get a sack to be good. It's just something where we can see, hey, is he getting pushed? Is he getting pressure? How does the hole look? Because we're probably not going to see Michael Pierce. We're probably not going to see Calais Campbell. These are just assumptions, but definitely not in the first week. So we're going to see him, and we're going to see a lot of the other, young defensive linemen the Ravens have, whether they're undrafted guys or, guys like I think Broderick Washington's still with the team. I think he's still healthy.
Yeah, we'll see him probably, most likely.
We may see Matabike for a quarter or maybe a couple of series, but Travis Jones is going to be out there for a good portion of time. And I want to see how he does. How does that D-line look? With Odafe and Travis Jones, how does it look?
I love the fact that, yes, the Ravens brought in veterans, like Calais Campbell, Michael Pierce, but at the same time, with the new age young Ravens coming in, like Travis Jones, Justin Matabike, Broderick Washington, Dalen Hayes, Odafe, Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison. I know he's a bubble guy. It was different because preseason was 4 games. Now you're down to 3. These 3 games are going to be more crucial than ever to anyone's career who wants to be, an NFL player. So I mean, even Fago and I forgot the other linebacker from Auburn, Moss.
Zacoby McCain.
So I mean, it's definitely interesting to see how this is all going to play out. But Travis Jones, man, we talk about him so much. He's literally he's the steal of this year's past draft. And I love the fact that the Ravens did get him, even though we do sometimes excessively overdraft certain positions. For instance, the defensive tackle. But I feel like this one we did hit the nail on the coffin with this one. I definitely feel like he can be a household name for years to come in the purple and black with the Ravens. And seeing how that trench work, like you said, being able to see that trench work, you don't always see it because in the interior, that's when the real dog fights go on. And sometimes if you're not Aaron Donald or Ndamukong Suh or a big body that makes their presence known all the time, you're not gonna always see what's going on. So being able to see how this technician really gets accurate against opposing team offensive linemen, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that as well. I definitely love that. And I want to see how Malik Harrison fares because he's fighting for a job too. I know they're going to be trying to move him around to outside, a little bit of middle. But if he shows promise on the outside linebacker position, especially how thin we are on the outside linebacker position, he can solidify his spot on this team.
Yeah, there's so many positions and so many guys that'll be moved around into different spots this preseason. In the comment section down below, guys, let us know what you think. Defensive players, offensive players, whoever it is. If you're watching this episode, go check out the other ones. If you're listening on the podcast, check out the YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously check out the podcast. But there's a lot of guys that we're looking out for. And, right after this first preseason game, I can't wait to go live because we're going to be able to finally talk about it. We're going to be able to finally see this is it. These are the players. Now, do the stats count? Do the accolades count? No. But, I mean, if someone went out there and threw for like 1,000 yards, I don't care. I'm saying it's the greatest quarterback performance of all time. I don't care. Oh, you had 9 sacks in the first quarter. I don't care if it's preseason. That was pretty good. But it's going to be the first time that we really get to analyze everything. And there's so many players to look out for. There's so many rookies, so many vets. It's going to be interesting. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait for Thursday. But Joshua, do you have anything final to add?
No, man. I mean, you said it, man. Make sure y'all smashing the like button. Make sure y'all subscribe to the page. Turn on your notifications. And hey, man, thank y'all, TTB family. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe. And we'll see all of you again the day of the Ravens' first preseason game.